Rumble, a platform that has been gaining popularity as an alternative to YouTube, offers $100 million to Joe Rogan to move his show on their platform. In a letter posted on their official Twitter page, they said, "Dear Joe, we stand with you, your guests, and your legion of fans in desire for real conversation. So we'd like to offer you 100 million reasons to make the world a better place. How about you bring all your shows to Rumble, both old and new, with no censorship for $100 million over 4 years? This is our chance to save the world. And yes, this is totally legit. Sincerely, Chris Pavlovsky, CEO of Rumble." This comes after many celebrities called for Rogan to be censored or even removed from Spotify because he's supposedly spreading dangerous misinformation. Later, the cause changed because old video emerged of Joe saying the word that white people shouldn't say. So far, Spotify, who in 2020 signed an exclusive deal with Rogan worth $100 million over the span of 3 years, has stood with him amongst all the criticism, but they have had to take actions to appease the angry mob and the vengeful mainstream media. And with no indication that the witch hunt will stop, will a peaceful divorce be the best thing for everyone here? Now let's look at each side individually. Rumble wins no matter what happens. If Joe Rogan decides to move, he will bring a massive audience with him to their platform. The $100 million that they will pay him will be nothing compared to all the traffic that they will get, and they can finally be looked more seriously as an alternative to YouTube. If Rogan says, "No thank you," then this will still be a net positive. The message that they posted costs absolutely nothing, and it will serve to promote their brand of free speech and freedom from censorship. Joe Rogan, on the other hand, has had to issue an apology after an apology in those past days, but despite him trying to do the right thing, I don't think that the mob will stop going after him. And the reality of the situation is that both Spotify and Rumble need him far more than he needs them. He can start his own platform tomorrow if he so chooses, and it will still have a large audience. Financially, going to Rumble will mean a pay cut, since what they're offering is $100 million over the span of 4 years instead of 3, but this is still an incredibly large sum of money. Joe Rogan's supposed net worth is $100 million. Money will not be that big of a factor for him. It will come down to whether he feels censored. After all, Spotify just removed some of the episodes from his podcast out of the blue. There is no information on whether or not there were some boundaries put on Rogan when he signed with Spotify, but considering the magnitude of the deal, it will not be surprising if such things exist. The carte blanche that Rumble is offering might really be tempting if Joe wants to go back to some of the wilder times of his show. The other factor that needs to be taken into consideration is whether or not Spotify will let him leave, because after all, he's under contract with them. And the situation with Spotify is quite interesting. They're a corporation that cares mostly about their bottom line after all, but they have been dragged into all the recent controversies surrounding Joe Rogan because the activists figured that attacking Rogan is pointless because of all his fans who will support him. So they decided to go after the platform that is hosting his show. Spotify is probably asking themselves if keeping Joe is worth it, and if more and more people decide to leave their platform, it might not be. But one thing that Spotify knows for sure is that kicking Joe Rogan off their platform, or even censoring him, will result in a much greater backlash than what has already occurred. Joe Rogan has about 11 million viewers per episode on average. If say 25% of those people decide to boycott Spotify, it will get nasty. That's why Spotify has been weathering the storm so far. And this is where the proposition from Rumble comes in. It can be a way for Spotify to part ways with Rogan without angering his fans too much. Or all three parties can come to an agreement where the Joe Rogan experience can be on both Spotify and Rumble. These are the three options for Spotify. Weather the storm, get rid of Joe outright, or work some kind of a deal with Rumble. But what do you think? Thanks for watching.